Thank you very much for inviting me to speak on the Digital Twin Hub. I think geospatial is the most interesting industry in the UK right now in the world. And I think it's amazing that you have this collaboration, and I'm looking forward to meeting so many of you as well. Skilled Mapping is a mapping company. I'll talk very briefly about our experience. The first innovation being the fact that we have an electric car there, and we believe adamantly, vehemently that everyone should be using electric cars in this industry to collect data. So mobile mapping, what is it? I'll give you a brief introduction for those of you who don't know. We collect geospatial data by driving around cars. That cars has high specification equipment on top. It creates a lot of data. That data is processed, and then it's either delivered to clients or analyzed ourselves. Skilled Mapping as a company consists of operational experience and also tech experience. And that's really important with all the innovations that we're having in AI and this space in general around digital twins. We've collected over 100,000 kilometers of data in the UK, France, and America, and that has been operationally for other companies, but now we're actually moving towards our own data, collecting, processing, and sharing to further democratize data and give more companies and more people access to this data. So I'll start getting into the use cases. At the moment, we have mobile mapping machines that collect with high spec LiDAR, and low spec imagery is generally the case. I won't go too much into LiDAR because Navis did an amazing job of explaining that the other day. But here's one of the things that we're working on at the moment. If you were to collect data at a city scale or a national scale, as we envisage doing, imagine we collect the whole of Birmingham. We have photos of the every street, every road. If someone says we need to know how many post boxes are in Birmingham, we can run the AI and we can say, this is how many post boxes there are, this is their location, this is a photo of all those post boxes, but that can actually be used for anything that you can visually see, and we can get in high clarity from the image. We can actually extract information from that. And that can also help us build more accurate digital twins, because we can analyze at scale the information that we actually have and then label that so we have more information to share between all the different stakeholders. On the left, we have an example of an image. This image has been taken from our mobile mapping car from about, I think it's about 15 meters away. Classification of trees can be quite difficult. What we'd normally try and do is label as many of these trees as we can so that we can extract the information from that. We can find out what type of tree that is. We've actually found that it's with high quality imagery, with the density of pixels, we are actually able to improve the image of that tree. And then we can actually classify what that tree is very easily. And this is another way that we can innovate to solve problems. When we know we have the data, we can't quite get to the outcome we need, we can use AI to kind of help us get the information out of the data that we've already captured. High resolution imagery is also very good for making more accurate digital twins when it comes to video games or real life simulation as well. Big data is difficult to get in terms of collecting a whole city like Birmingham. It takes a long time. At the moment, we have lots of digital twins. Some of that, for example, in Birmingham wouldn't be all of the roads at once or even in the same year. And that can cause a problem for different companies, say the police, fire service, architects, builders. They want to know a specific street, and they want to know with a high accuracy, maybe 0.5 millimeters, the height of a curb, or they want to scan an accident, or there's a health and safety issue. What you'll be able to do, because of cars already speculatively capturing the area, because they're already capturing data, you could task that car to say, we want to collect data from that road. The mapping system would then, the closest car in the vicinity would then be tasked to drive to that area. Once they drive to that area, they would change the mapping system from speculatively capturing to capturing for a specific task. They drive the area, the LiDAR, the photo, and any other photo imagery and any other data that's needed would then automatically, if it's confidential, would automatically update the private digital twin. If it wasn't confidential, then we would update the general digital twin. So it's a way to get big data captured. So you capture large areas, but also we can proactively, if there's a specific need, send a car to get information. Kind of what happened with concrete a few years ago, and they changed their business model. So at the moment, you have capturing mobile mapping systems. Generally, they're 3 to 5 years life cycle. You can't plug other sensors into them. We see this changing, and we see building mobile mapping systems to be for the specific use cases of what people need. For example, a lot of people don't know what you can achieve with the data when you can combine all these different systems together. You can achieve amazing things, but big tech and other big companies don't tend to share this data, especially with consumers. And these are people who we're taking data from. For example, when I lived in London, I had damp in my flat, and the landlord said to me that it's actually due to you. It's not due to the building. It's how you're living. And the solution to that was to open the windows and to increase the temperature in the home. That at the moment, it's obviously very difficult to do. We could very easily drive every home in London. You could say these homes have damp because of a structural issue in the outside of the building. We can see that from our mobile mapping system. These are all the homes that we see that have damp. But you could go further. You could say to the tenant, a tenant could go onto the system, access the digital twin, get a photo of their property and say, yeah, I can see on my brickwork, I have damp. They could potentially send that to the landlord and say, this issue it doesn't come from my perspective, it's actually a building defect. That's just one example of how building defects can be used to how we can use big data to actually not just even democratize to other companies, but to democratize to individuals as well. And this is where we want to engage with the digital twin community. We can reduce social economic discrimination, as I've explained with building defects and many other things. Carbon emissions, digital twins are going to have an absolutely huge impact on carbon emissions, and democratizing data, again, I think it's a real core issue for the digital twin community. And if anyone has problems that are related to these, we can very easily say, yes, we can't solve that solution with our mapping systems at the moment, or we need to change the way we're working so we can actually achieve answers to the questions you have. Thank you very much for letting me present, and here's my contact details.